Hi. So I'm just gonna wait for some more people to come in. I'm about to call Gabby. She is hands down one of my favorite female guitarists out there, and I'm so grateful that she made the time to sit down and have a little chat with me. So I'm gonna call her right now. Hey. Okay, let me call her. Wait. Okay.
Hey,
Hi. Hi, sis. How are you?
girl, stressed, but we're here.
I know you're what's that saying? You're busy and booked. You got
Booked and busy,
everything.
honey. Booked and busy.
So thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. And I know catching Mama Tulips is like asking for God to send
Oh, girl.
doves. Okay, but thank you. Thank you so much. So I'm not going to take
Hey,
up too much of your
Shore.
time. I just want to ask you, some questions for people who don't know Gabby. She is one of the most badass female guitarists that I know. She
Yeah.
is just incredibly kind and just so genuine, and she wastes no time reaching out to other female guitarists and helping us get our stuff together. So thank you, sis. So first of all, how are you? Like, how have you been? What have you been up to?
Well, I've been multitasking between, as you can see right now, I am
Uh-huh.
feeding my dog Child, who I guess he will make a cameo because I bought him the cutest little bow tie.
Hi! Oh my
Kyla,
god,
show your
so
bow tie.
cute! Oh,
Oh, he's
okay,
not.
handsome. Mm-hmm.
You see his little bow tie?
He's so
Oh,
cute.
Jesus. You can see my guitar corner is an absolute train wreck. But yeah,
Oh,
so I've just been like really busy multitasking things, and I'm feeding him right now, so forgive me for every now
no,
and
you're
then.
okay. I totally understand. I have dog babies too, so they're
Oh,
like,
yes, you get it.
oh my god. Some days I swear, if I wasn't a musician, I'd just live on a farm because it's just so much the
Okay.
work they require, and I don't have the
Listen,
patience.
nobody told me all that. No, I grew up having animals. So I knew it was going to be a lot of work, but he's a rescue. This is my first time having a rescue and my first time
Oh
having a male
wow.
dog.
Oh
So it's
wow.
been, yeah, it's been an interesting experience. He used to be a hunting dog, and I'm quite positive there's some abuse that came from the background, but I'm not going to
Oh.
go into a rant about that. But yeah, I love my little Kai Kai. His name is Kylo, but I call him Kai Kai.
Oh, I know. I've seen all your videos with him playing guitar with you and going on little road trips. Like really adorable. I love
He
that.
be having a blast. He be having more fun than I do sometimes. I be stressed out dealing with the trip, and he's just having kicking up his legs.
He's like, "Mom, where are we going now?"
Right? Like, what we doing now? What we doing now? Is there gonna be food?
Okay, sis. So I know your time is limited, so I just want to get into some questions with you. So one thing I really wanted to know is what inspired you to become a musician? Like, what made you say, you know what, music is for me, the guitar is for me? Like, what happened in life to make you make those decisions?
I would say that's a good question, and I try not to give like the cliche answer, which is music saved me. But I mean, for me, Kylo. For me, sorry, Kylo also wanted to add input. He wanted to say that when life knocks you down, you get back up. But
Thank you for
um,
we appreciate you.
right. But I mean, for me, honestly, a lot of it just came from it was birthed out of my struggles um, in middle school and high school. I struggled with identifying with the skin that I'm in. I struggled with identifying as just being a person of color listening to rock music because a lot of the white kids thought it was, this is our music. And then a lot of the black kids just felt like, that's weird that you're listening to that. So it was, when you're that young, you're looking for a place to fit in, you're looking for friends, but it's not until you're an adult that you realize you don't have to fit in. You can just
Mm-mm.
be you can be on your own. You can stand on your own. Not saying that relationships aren't important, but I think for me going through all of that, guitar is what helped me to it was the connecting piece for me and other people that don't look like me, that don't have the same skin color as me, but we all listen to Foo Fighters, or we all love, you know, Ella Fitzgerald. Breathe,
Yeah.
child, breathe. So yeah, for me it was a lot about just connecting, and guitar really allowed me to do that. It's the universal language. Music is universal language.
Yes,
So
I totally agree. So, I kind of had a similar experience growing up, but one thing I wanted to ask you, how did it affect you not seeing a lot of women playing the guitar growing up, especially not seeing a lot of black women playing guitar growing up? Like for me, it was one of the motivating factors because I'm like, I don't see any of my sisters. I don't see a
Right.
lot of us playing. So I'm like, I just
Right.
want to play and hopefully it'll inspire somebody. But how did that affect you?
Um, it impacted me in a similar way that I'm sure a lot of other, Black girls out there can identify with. But, I just the way that it impacted me the most, I would say, was figuring out what perspective to take on the world around me. Because
Mm-hmm.
one thing that humans all have in common is shit is going to happen.
Yeah.
Life is going to happen, good, bad, and ugly. It's how you respond to it and how you deal with it that really determines the direction, the trajectory, the long-term goal setting that you have for yourself. It also is what separates weak people and
Yes.
strong-minded people. And
Yes.
I think that there's beauty in that. Not saying that that weakness is something that you should see as a weakness. I think there's beauty in that because I think that it helps all of us uplift each other. There are a lot of areas that I am not strong in at all whatsoever, and I'm not even gonna lie to you. I am not good at graphic design. Do not ask me. But I do know someone on my team that's very good at that. Or I know other Black girls or women of color in this industry that are very good at that. And so we just leverage off of each other's strengths and weaknesses. And in that, I find unity. So I think that that's the most beautiful part.
That's really awesome, sis. And I want to say, and I know I said this to you before, but I definitely want to say a big thank you to you for always being there when I needed advice on something, anything random I had thought wise as far as like the music business and industry. I'm just so grateful that if I ever needed to reach out to you, you were always there for me. So I know a
Absolutely.
lot of women feel that way too who know you.
Yeah.
So, you are the front woman of an all black female collective. Like, tell me the story. How did that happen? What inspired you to do that? Are people like just blown away when they see how amazing you guys are on stage? Like, I know I'm asking you 5,000 questions. I'm so sorry, but
No,
I'm
it's
so
good.
excited to
No,
talk
this
to
is
you.
great because, like, whenever I answer stuff, I really do be rambling. So I'm sure I'm going to answer everything all at once. But you know what? Like, so Tulip started. If you remember Diamond from Crime Mob back in the day, like if you buck, I started playing guitar for Diamond, and and even how that happened. Everything I would say all of the major focal points so far, because I know there's so many more to come, but the major high points for me, my career thus far, have been extremely random things.
Oh.
Like Diamond's management randomly hit me up on Instagram. I don't know. I did at the time. I didn't know Diamond. I didn't know anybody in her circle. I wasn't at that time. I wasn't as appreciative of rap and trap as much as I am now. So
Mm-hmm.
the connection wasn't there. So I didn't get it. But I think that that's literally like where God works best. Like stop, like y'all stop being in control. I got this. But
Yes.
yeah, Diamond's management hit me up. And then I started playing for her. And then I saw an opportunity to do something bigger. I said, hey, I've seen your, I think the show that she was on at the time was called Sisterhood of Hip Hop. And I
Okay.
said, look, I've seen that you have a band in LA. You need a band in Atlanta. I got you. I
Wow.
already got some Black girls that are already ready to rock out. We here. I didn't have anybody at the time, but that was none of her business because this was a business transaction. So
I'm taking notes, okay? I'm mentally like right now.
listen, everybody don't need to see all your cards all the time. Sometimes they just need to see one or two, and then we can look at the rest of them a little bit later because they might change. But yeah, but that's how that started though. And I called up Kylo Breathe. Sorry, we're also battling, like he literally inhales food. He does not chew it.
Oh my
But
gosh.
but yeah, so that's how that got started. Called up musicians that I knew in the area at the time, and then just continued to work and grow from there. And honestly, I would say that was the experience that really helped me get a bigger, real quick glance into the business side of the music industry from a couple of different perspectives. One of the most important ones being, I did not realize that like management is difficult, especially when you have to manage somebody else. I get tired of managing myself sometimes because sometimes I have to take off my manager hat and be like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
Gabby, hello, are you at work today? So, managing other people, managing musicians when you're not a musician or you don't know how to work with musicians is literally the worst thing in the whole world. So,
I can't
you
imagine
know,
it. Like all I hear in my head is like ego, like trying to work with people and then their ego is like on a whole nother planet. But no, continue.
right, no, right. So, I mean, it always just, it opened up a lot of doors of understanding for me. And so that's how the Tulips was started. And then I kept going from there. And what I quickly realized was that a lot of the things that I identified with a lot of other women of color out there as young girls, a lot of the things that I was experiencing that I went through in middle and high school, I thought around this time I was like 21, 22, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I really thought, okay, you know, I'm over those things. I'm good. You know, I'm playing for Diamond now. I have my own band. Like, you know, I feel better. But what I quickly started to realize was that there were a lot of things I hadn't dealt with internally, and it was really good because it allowed me to fix those things as I'm working with other musicians, and as we're killing more birds with one stone, if you will. Like we're representing for Black girls. We're not just like playing instruments, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So definitely was killing multiple birds with one stone. But yeah, so I mean, fast forwarding to where we are now, it's been 8 years. And again, life almost knocked me down numerous times, but I always get back up. And so it's been a great journey though. It's been an amazing journey. Lots of sacrifices, but that's life.
Just from the outside looking into all of your success, like especially this year alone, I'm just sitting there like just in awe of you. Like, okay, first of all, can you list all of your endorsements? Like, that's number one.
Oh, child. Okay.
I be losing. What else I was gonna ask you? Like how? Like, I mean, I know you're amazing. You're so badass. I've seen your pictures. I've seen you. You're gonna make me cry. No, stop it. I told you last time, don't cry when we do lives. Okay.
I can't listen. I'm not set up like that.
Okay. No, I'm serious. From the outside looking in, you are phenomenal. And I'm constantly like amazed by you because, I mean, it's a credit to you. You are a woman of color. You are strong. You are so like unapologetically yourself. And a lot of people who are not secure in themselves can't do that, number one. And you're also, you know, you're an artist. You're in a public setting. So a lot of people are quietly inspired by you. But so I asked you, how many endorsements do you have? Because I'm sitting here like, okay, goals forever. And secondly, like, what are, in all honesty, the pros and cons of being a woman of color in the music industry? Well, playing guitar, that you would say.
Stop. I want to start with that, and I think that it segues into the endorsements, because the companies that you give your money to and your support to is very important. But honestly, I would say, like, being a woman in this industry, especially being a woman of color, has its ups and downs, like anything in the world, like anything in life. For me, a lot of the negative things that I've had to deal with or experience have been, hindsight is 2020. They've been very trivial. They've been things that literally have not impacted my life at all. But that's because in those moments I chose not to let them. You know, there's been a lot of issues over the years with extreme racism, high levels of misogyny, sexism, the whole nine. People just doubting your skills because you're a girl, you know, stuff like that. You know, and it honestly, it gets so old and played out. Like, that's why my whole thing was, you know, I kept seeing a lot of that on social media when I first started building my brand and the band. I saw a lot of that on social media, and my thing was, how do you, like, I know it's going to get worse. I'm just getting started, and I'm seeing what people are saying in the comments. Like, people are wilding out. Like, it's going to get worse. So moving forward, that was so disgusting. He just burped very loudly. But
we forgive you, Kylo.
Right.
It's okay.
But moving from that, though, I decided, one thing that my parents taught me growing up is your cup is either half empty or it's half full. So I had to figure out, what type of cup am I going to have, and for how long, or for eternity? So, you know, the negative things, they come and go. The comments are always going to happen. There's always going to be crazy ass people in the comment section that always got some shit to say. But you know what? They're not out here doing the work. They're not out here putting the boots on the ground, and they're not out here in the mud with other, like, sisters of theirs, or sisters of color, or musicians of color. Just, you're not out here in the mud with the people that are on the receiving end of what it is that we're trying to express through our artistry. So, you know, for every negative, there's 10 billion positives. So I've gotten to the point now where I see something negative, I literally just delete and keep it pushing. Sometimes I'll leave it, because I do know that, like, my social media goons will come in and be like, you know, who are you talking to? So, and, you know, sometimes some people do need to get, you know, a couple words in response, because you know.
Absolutely.
But
I mean, you, like, you know, I hope you know the positive effect you have on so many women who look up to you. Like, um, because to be honest with you, I've seen a lot of, you know, the situations where you experience backlash and, you know, seeing you go through that. And sometimes I'm like, of course I want success too, but I don't know if I'll be able to handle that because it's like you're
It's a
attacking
lot.
character, you're
It's
attacking
a
my
lot.
race.
It's
It's a lot.
a lot.
And,
It's
you
too
know,
much.
it's sometimes I'm like, how is she so strong? Because I would not know how to do with it. I just won't. But on a more positive note, though, like from when you started up until now, do you see yourself in a different light? Like, do you like the Gabby who, when you were just getting ready to get into this industry versus who you are now?
That's a really good question. Definitely see a difference. If I didn't see a difference, I would say there's a bigger problem because that means I'm not growing.
Yeah.
But you know, I definitely I think that one of the biggest things, actually, I was reflecting on this today while I was driving because, you know, if I'm being transparent, I'm still a human. So I have my days where I'm like, I can't, I'm not doing this. So I'm just going to completely log off social media. I'm simply not doing this. It's too much. The Guitar World magazine situation thing was one of those days where I was like, okay, logging off. It's too much.
Yeah.
I have to protect my mental, and you have to, all of us, you have to protect your mental sanity first and foremost. You cannot do anything in this world. I don't matter what industry you are in, but you cannot do things in this world if you don't know who you are first and foremost. And if you do not take time to put your mental, physical, and spiritual health first. It sounds really corny, but it's not.
No,
Because once you get into it and like shit hits the fan, that's when you really, like I was saying earlier, life is going to help you determine what side do you want. Is your cup half empty or half full? Are you
right.
going to stay being, you know, a weak-minded person, or are you going to grow? Are you going to be strong? Are you going to persevere? So, you know, there's definitely been a lot of changes. And briefly going back to the endorsements, a lot of the companies that I'm currently with have really seen that that perseverance, and I believe the resilience that that me and many other artists before me and currently are having to do every single day. You know,
Yeah.
it takes energy and strength to say, all right, today I'm going to do this, or today I'm going to do that. So I'm very thankful to PRS. I've recently joined the PRS family earlier this year.
I know.
Um,
I'm so happy for you. I
yes,
saw
I'm so
that.
happy, and that's a whole separate interview. But like the story behind why PRS means so much to me, it's not just because of the brand, it's not just because of the guitar, it's a whole emotional backstory. But I do have a video on that where I kind of dive into that more.
I love they PRS really is one of my favorite brands. I feel like
Yeah,
they care so much about the
they
artist
do. They really
where it's
do.
not like okay, where it's not just about like money or about like how you can benefit the brand. They really treat you like a family member. And you know,
Right.
I got endorsed earlier last year December as one of their Pulse artists, and to be honest with you,
Hmm.
it's been like a dream come true. They really
Yeah.
are amazing. So
And
I
not a lot of companies have that, honestly. Most companies, like
know.
you just said, most companies care about what you can do for them. And that's
Right.
why I was saying, you know, if you know who you are and you start to develop your brand and have your business together and all that kind of stuff, when you start having conversations with endorsement companies, come to the table business minded. Like, look, I'm not arrogant, business minded.
Right.
Come to the table with your list of things that you want out of the relationship too. And there is nothing wrong with that. I highly encourage especially Black women to do that, because we oftentimes are the ones that will just say, let me put my desires on the back burner. Let me not bring it up because I don't want to be seen as too aggressive or too
For
angry or
asking
whatever.
too much.
Girl, write down the things that you want and go into that meeting like a white man the same way they would. And I'm being so dead ass serious too. Go into that meeting and say, look, I'm happy to be here. This is what you need out of me. This is what I would like out of you. How can we meet in the middle? That's called a
Right.
business conversation. So
Right.
go for it.
No, I would definitely keep that in mind for the future because there's so many brands that I love, but you know, not every brand is a perfect fit because
Right.
agenda. So,
Yeah.
okay.
I have
So
stories
let
about
me
that.
ask you about your guitars. How many guitars do you have? Do you
Ooh.
have a favorite guitar, and what is your ideal tone, or what kind of tone are you trying
Ooh.
to achieve?
I love these kinds of questions. Okay. I stopped counting after 12.
Oh my
One,
God,
two,
I
hold
hate that.
on,
I
two.
want 12.
I'm going to say I think I have about 15 guitars now. I
Wow.
do not play all 15 of them consecutively. They're guitars that I've had over my journey. I'm looking at 5 of them right now. One of them, actually, let me grab one of them is my PRS. This is the first
Please.
Kylo, you better not touch it. Excellent job. We're also in training. Black Panther.
Every time I talk to you, I'm always laughing. But so
Listen,
okay, so that's your first PRS?
Yeah, this was my first PRS. This is an SE Opeth.
I love it.
Yeah, it's 24 frets. It's a beautiful guitar. And this is what made me, this was one of the guitars that really made me fall in love with the next level of, all right, let me figure out what my tone is. So I have three PRS guitars. I have like 5 or 6 ESPs. I'm also endorsed with the ESP. And then I have a Jackson. I have like
nice.
2 or 3. I have 3 Ibanez. And then I have a Yamaha, a classical Ibanez, a Les Paul, and a Gretsch. And I think I'm missing something else. But the main ones, though, that I do play are my new green PRS SE Custom, which I'm actually going to be unveiling my new look to it soon. I'm doing some mods. My new pickups from my endorsement reps at EMG just came in.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, those are, I would say the ones I play the most though are my PRS SE, my new one, and then my I would say my trademark green ESP.
I've seen that one.
Yeah, it's a what model is that? It's a M50 FR. It's an M50 FR, and it's a really dope guitar. When it comes to tone, that was one of the guitars also that helped me figure out the rock tone that I wanted. What I love about PRS guitars is you can play PRS across all genres. There are certain guitars that are there are certain guitars that are better with certain genres of different styles of music. They just shine better because that's their lane. So for me, my ESP M50 FR, it has a very gritty tone, but it's not overkill. It can become overkill depending on the type of pickups. Right now I have EMG Kirk Hammett bone breakers in there. They're extremely hot, so it does take a lot to dial the intensity back. Yeah, with the right analog board and all that kind of stuff. And then with my PRS, when my pickups come in, I'll show them to you. But they are, what series did I get? I don't even remember what I got. We started talking about this like months and months ago. But it's really cool. Pickups, very warm tone.
Are they
and I wanted to keep that for my PRS.
Most people want to know if they're green.
No, they're okay. I'm trying not to give it away because like I'm really gonna change the whole thing.
How about this? Let's go on to something else. I won't ask you about your pickups, but I have a feeling I know what they look like, but I'm not gonna say anything to you.
I'm gonna send you a picture, but the internet is not gonna see it till it's all done.
Okay, thank you, sis. I appreciate that. So in reference to like tone and stuff, it's like who inspired you to play the guitar? Like I know you mentioned Foo Fighters, like what artists really intrigued you? And I want to say I love the fact that we're women having this conversation about guitars because I only see guys doing these things, and this is so awesome. So
girl, okay.
So
I would say when it comes to guitarists, Steve Vai, Jimi Hendrix, and Orianthi have always been my top 3. I am absolutely obsessed with Steve Vai. Let me add Joe Satriani too, because they both. I listened to a lot of them, especially when I started playing PRS. I started listening to more Joe Satriani. No, sir, more Joe Satriani. And I have a song that kind of was inspired by "Always with Me, Always with You." Anywho,
I love that one.
I absolutely love that song. Right? I know.
And Crying and Starry Night. I have to say those are like my favorites.
Yeah, same. Yeah. Those are, I would say, guitarist wise, those are the top ones that really influenced me. Orianthi definitely influenced me to be more interested in PRS. Yeah. Over time.
So for me, I always saw Santana with them, so that's what really intrigued me. But when I saw Orianthi too, during This Is It, Michael Jackson's DVD tour, and I saw her playing, I was like, wow, that's amazing. I never seen a woman like that play the guitar.
Right.
In that way. So she's amazing. She's really, really fantastic. So, you've been all over the world with the Tulips performing. You've been, like, how many countries have you been to?
Child, I've only been to 3. But it's been...
But you've been to London, right?
Yeah. We went to London, then we went to Canada.
Nice.
And then, actually, no, just those 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's still amazing. I've only been in America for the most part, so...
Listen, I will tell you, like, nobody else in the business is going to say, if you really want shit to pop, go out of the country. Americans, we are too accustomed to having what we want when we want.
I heard
Montreal, yes! Yes, that's where we went. We went to Montreal. I love Montreal so much. I went back like twice in 1 year.
So what are the audiences like? Like when you perform with your band, like are they like do they love your type of music? How do they feel about your band and your girls? Like let me know everything.
It ranges. You have some people who are really, really into it and they're on the front. No, sir. And they're on the front row.
Mm-hmm.
You have some people who know the words because they've listened to the Lost One before.
Nice.
Then I have some people that are big time haters on the front row also.
Oh.
And it's usually like middle-aged white guys who also played guitar in a hair metal band from the 70s, and like they never really popped, so they just decide to like go to concerts and hate on black girls in London.
That sounds like the description of a hater.
Mm-hmm. But then they'll come up after the show. They'll come up to you and be like, "Oh, I love that solo," and I'm like, "You should donate. Go ahead and we have Cash App,
of course. Like
right?
Help me if you like me so much. Buy my stuff. I totally agree with you. Okay, so. All right, so what piece of advice would you give to your younger self about the music industry / music business?
I'm going to tell you to first breathe. That's number one. Number two would be for myself. I was like, I don't know what is gotten over him today, but you're doing a lot. I think he's on drugs, y'all.
Okay.
Yeah, please pray for him. I would say to myself, continue on no matter what. Again, super cliche, very corny, but I also feel like there's power in continuing. I think there's a lot of power in resiliency. Resiliency. And I would also say, explore everything. I often feel like, especially as young Black kids, I feel like we grow up with being told that we can't do certain careers or certain things because that's not attainable, or that's not, people like y'all don't normally do that. Well, we create everything, and that is normal. So I feel like we should also be able to partake in things that we created. So I would say, be multifaceted, explore everything, whatever your heart desires, continue on, like pursue that, because the people historically, the people in the music industry that make it super long term are the people who are very well rounded.
Right.
They're very well rounded artists and have a good well rounded circle of people, inner circles and outer circles. And learning how to keep people at arm's length sometimes is very necessary. It's hard, but it's extremely necessary for protecting the longevity of what it is that you work so hard for. Right.
Thank you.
And we don't have to rush if you want, by the way. I just got a text that the thing I was going to do after this, they moved it back by like an hour. So
thank you.
Don't feel like you have to rush.
Okay.
Okay. So you're not going anywhere right
now. Okay. So this is kind of like going back to taking good care of yourself and how like mentality is so important. So I do notice a lot on your Instagram that you do a lot of yoga and that you do a lot of skincare. So how is physical health and mental health very important to you? Like I asked you the same question twice. I'm so sorry. How is physical health and mental health important to you? And why does it affect your music?
Well, what year? We're in 2021. In 2000, I would say 2018 or 19, I ran into a very big writer's block that I've come up out of it, and then I've kind of gone back into it in certain areas, but I had a really bad writer's block like for years. And it was very difficult for me to find the inspiration to finish writing my albums, which is why it took me so long to get them finally completed, because I felt like I didn't have anything in me. I started practicing yoga, and then I got more serious with yoga, I would say about two years ago. And that's really, and also taking care of my skin. And that's when I realized, first and foremost, I didn't realize that as like a melanated people, we still, like, you got to take care of your skin. Like, I know we're superheroes, but like, you have to put on SPF. You just do. Now you can put on certain types of SPF. And those are things that I learned as I started doing more skincare, and as I started really taking time to practice yoga and get back into the things I love, like running. I was an athlete growing up.
Oh,
So
wow.
I ran track and soccer and cross country and all of that. And those were, and I do remember the best things that came out of those sports for me was the clarity, the mental clarity. And I realized that I had a very large blockage because I was hustling and grinding and going nonstop from 2015
Mm.
until 18 to build Tulips. And I was a full-time law student. I was full-time working at a nonprofit. I was managing 2 clients. I was touring. I was doing a lot, but I was trying to get to a certain level that I felt I needed to get to in order to meet the rest of my goals and on the trajectory that I set for myself. I quickly realized that it's not a race. Like, it's not, just slow down. So once I told myself to slow down and I started like being more intentional, I always use the word intentional in front of, use the word intentional after you have those awakening moments. But the intentionality behind yoga, the intentionality behind, I'm going to take my time and learn my skin and figure out what I need to do for my skin, you know, for me to feel confident to just wear my skin as it is. I had severe acne growing up, so I never had the confidence to just, like, this would have never happened like 10 years ago.
Wow.
But yeah, so I would say those are the things that for me, those are the things that came out of practicing yoga and doing skincare, just the mental clarity, but also going back to what I said earlier, taking time for yourself. Like,
Right.
just really taking time for yourself. And it could be something as sometimes I just sit up and do puzzles and listen to podcasts because I
Yeah.
just enjoy doing that. So I do think that's important. That's necessary for anybody out there.
Yes. For me, like self-love is really important. Definitely like meditation and just
Mm-hmm.
you know, like turning off my mind sometimes so that I can
Yeah.
create because I have so much going on mentally that I'm trying to finish. So I
Right.
totally agree with you on that.
Can't pour from an empty cup.
No, you can't. And I think the funny thing is, until you start taking better care of yourself, your life
Mm-hmm.
doesn't move. Like once you start taking
Yep.
better care of you, life around you really does shift for the better.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I noticed that with myself too.
100%.
Um, so okay, so as everybody knows, um, with I guess the last year and a half, I would say, the world has been going through a pandemic, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, it forced a lot of people, I think, to go inward, to start learning more about themselves, learn about what they like, changing their view on a lot of things in their life. So, how
Yeah.
has the pandemic impacted you, and what have you learned about yourself?
Um, you know what? One thing I just looked at Kylo when I thought about this because when I adopted him, which honestly I didn't plan on adopting him when I did, but I also think that it was divine intervention. I think it was needed because one thing I really learned about myself during the panorama is that I can sometimes be impatient with things that need more patience than I'm willing to give.
Hmm.
And it put me in a position to have to ask myself, this is something that's going to require a commitment. You know, you have a dog. This is not the same type of pet that you've had before. This is not the same, you know, like he's living inside with you. He requires more attention, you know, and he's a working breed dog and he's a huge working breed dog. So he does require a lot more than like a little chihuahua might require. So I really had to sit down and I started asking myself, what other things in life do I really need to have more patience with? And one of those biggest things for me was going back to what I said earlier, my career. It's not a race. It's not a race. What is for you is for you. And there's nothing in this world that can change that because that's what God has for you. So I
Absolutely.
had to really come to terms with that. And it definitely it helped me to slow down a lot. The pandemic definitely it made me sit down because like I said, I'm either on or off. So if I'm
Yeah.
like going, then I'm gonna be going. But I had to realize that sometimes, you know, sitting down, like going to sit down is also fine.
Yeah.
Um, and it's definitely helped because I've been able to start building out some of the other endeavors of my company that I wanted to do for years and had the passion for, but I didn't have the time. I didn't have the time at all. So I had to start letting go of things and people and commitments. I had to start stripping things away and really recently came down on a sheet of paper and said, all right, these are the things that I want in life. And I've thought about it. I realize it's going to require a commitment, and I'm willing to make that commitment. And it's definitely changed my life and been good.
That's good. That's so good. It was hard for so many people. I think, it forced me for sure to definitely look at how I can be more self-sufficient with a lot of things in my career. Like you and I talked about this before, like about photography, how like investing in yourself when, you have no other option is like the best thing. And,
Right.
It's just, it helped me for the better in a lot of areas too. So that's really good.
Yeah, definitely.
So back to confidence, right? Do you have any mantras or anything that you tell yourself that helps you to stay confident on stage and when you're doing photo shoots or interviews?
You know what? Yes. I have a couple of them, but one of the main ones is a new one. It's by Megan Thee Stallion, and she literally said, hands on my knees, shaking ass on my thought shit. And I personally believe that was a message. I also have another one. Beyonce told us to get in formation.
That one. Oh my God.
No, but seriously though, like honestly, whenever we be backstage, even now when I got stuff to do, I'll be listening to all of the music, all of the things that I can pull, like, because lyrics are a form of poetry.
Yes.
To me. And so I'll take those things that really stuck out to me on a song, whether it's something super ratchet, which is still empowering, or whether it's, giving us an Erykah Badu. Either I think all of it is needed. And so those are definitely those are two ends of the spectrum that I tell myself as I'm gearing up for something. And then another thing I would say is I always tell myself I'm beautiful and I love myself. And I look in the mirror. That's why I have this yoga mirror right here. I look in the mirror when I'm doing yoga, and I tell myself like I'm beautiful and I love me.
Yes, that's so important. Like mirroring, I think when it comes to self-love, I don't know if you know about mirroring, but you just said it. It really, really changes how you feel inwardly about you.
Yeah.
So can you give me like a list, seeing as we have time, of all the artists that inspired you, like from the beginning up until now? Because I already know, you already told me Megan Thee Stallion and Beyonce. So like guitars and just give me all of them.
I really, really love trap music. I love trap. I'm from Atlanta, so what can I say? I love Migos. I love recently I've been listening to this artist that I love Gucci. But recently I've been listening to an artist that Gucci signed. Her name is Lakia. And I really like her because she's not she has a different type of flow, but also the content about what she raps about for it to be trap music I like it. She's rapping about like real life experience, which I know a lot of people say that, but like when you're talking about like shooting niggas in the trap all day, every day, like I get it for a couple of beats, but like not every single song on a whole album for 7 albums for 10 years. Right. That's not gonna work. No. But yes, I really like her. I also really, who else have I been listening to lately? Kiana Lede. I really love R&B as well. I listen to a ridiculous amount of R&B, rock, and trap. Those are the top 3 genres that I listen to lately, especially. But I love Kiana Lede. I love the way that she has such a nostalgic thing about her look, her style, her sound, the music, the production, the mixing. Like everything is just very nostalgic, but it's not too much. It's still her. So I really love her. And then I also like Mahalia. I don't know if you've heard of Mahalia, but she is
does she have song Grateful?
Yes, I love that song is my jam. I love that song. Yeah, but I really, really, really like Mahalia a lot. I love the way that, and she plays acoustic guitar too. So I really love the way. Yeah, I didn't know that either until I came across a video on YouTube, and I was like, "What is she doing?" Yes. So, but yeah, so I really like her a lot. Mahalia, and then her. I do like her as well. I've been listening to her stuff recently as well.
She's like a modern, well, Alicia Keys is still around, but she's like a modern day, like Alicia Keys, Lauryn Hill, like a little, I want to say a little Anita Baker, because she has so much soul in her, and the way she plays guitar is like, it's about time. Right. Like industry wise, that there is an artist like her. She's amazing. I really,
yeah, me too.
Talking about artists, this is a big question. Okay. What do you want your legacy to be? Like when people think of Guitar Gabby, Gabriella, Logan, what do you want people to say?
That's an excellent question. I want people to say that I did it for the culture. I did it for the little Black girls. That's really why I'm here. Because I just remember how I felt, and I remember how, you know, you felt from what the stories that you've told me when we've talked, and some of the people in the comment section, and, you know, just seeing people comment things on YouTube. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna cry. I really do it for the little Black girls out there that look like us, because I didn't have it. And it's not, my parents, they really tried the best that they could, but they didn't even know. You know, there's a lot of things that we just, as a people, I believe, people of color have been left out of, in terms of the conversations in the industries, various industries, in terms of the historical context for where we even came from, you know, for the things that we've created. We've never been given credit. And learning about Sister Rosetta Tharpe really, 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 and Lady Bo especially, because she had an attitude and I loved it. But yeah, just, you know, learning about all of those women, I didn't learn about them until I was an adult. And it often makes me wonder, what would I have been like today if I had seen Sister Rosetta Tharpe on the cover of a magazine, or if I had seen my homie Jackie Vincent on the cover of a magazine at a young age? You know what I'm saying? Like, what would we have been like now? So I don't know. I guess that's the long-winded version of saying I want people to just remember that it's not even about me. I'm doing this for my daughters and the ones after that, and all of their friends that want to have a rock band one day. And my niece, my niece is she just turned 4. No, I'm lying. Malia's like a grown up now. She's 6 and she acts like she's about 30. And so serious. But she I remember she basically came out of the womb saying that she wanted to play guitar. And it was because she saw I don't remember what, I think she saw a picture of me holding my green ESP when she was little. And I didn't, but this goes back to what I'm saying. Like, you don't even really recognize or realize how things that you do impact the people that are watching. I had no idea. It was just, to me, it was just a picture from a photo shoot that I was showing my older sister. And little did I know, her daughter, Malia, was watching it. She looked at it. And now, you know, I FaceTimed her the other day and she was like, I want to rock my hair out. And she started doing that. And we had her in one of my music videos. She's been in one of my music videos. She's been holding my guitar. So, like, it, you know, that every time that I look at that and I think about that, it reminds me of, you're doing this for something way bigger than you. So as long as those little girls are inspired, as long as the women around the world, even now and in the future, are inspired to do something that they're passionate about, to me, I believe that my mission that God has given me has been done.
I don't know what to say after that.
I'm trying not to.
That was really good.
You're gonna make me cry.
Gabby, don't cry. You know, I was gonna say something. I'm like, I'm gonna make her cry if I say it, so let me not say it. But
I'm on the verge.
Huh?
I'm on the verge of crying.
Do you want me to say it to you?
I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna cry even more. Yes.
You're so funny. I was gonna say, honest to God, for a lot of us, oh my God, I don't want to cry either. For a lot of us, you are our Sister Rosetta Tharpe. For a lot of us, you are. So I really do appreciate you for always being so positive, and don't cry, because I'm trying not to cry and I already have, you know.
That means so much.
I really do appreciate you, sis, because you really make it, to be honest with you, you make it easy for the rest of us to be ourselves, to be fearless, to dream really big, and to, you know, put things in perspective. Like, you know, it's really not about us, it's about the people after you. It's about you for a little while, but it really is about the young girls who look up to you, who want to play with you on stage, who, you know, it's really, really, God does that when you have a purpose and you swear things are moving so slow, and he's like, hold on, there's people I want you to inspire. Sit down, relax. You're gonna get there. But to be honest with you, for us, you really, really, we look up to you. At least I can honestly say, I know a lot of women, you know, probably tell you this all the time. a lot of us really look up to you and really appreciate how patient, genuine you are whenever we ask for your help, and just that you're just an overall fantastic role model. You really just represent women of color, Black women so strong. You really, really, really make it easier for us to be okay to handle criticism, to just be in such a male-dominated industry and still feel like you can be a woman. So I really do appreciate you for that. And I don't want you to keep crying, because like I'm never gonna ask you for an interview again if you're gonna keep crying.
I know you don't let me cry. This happens every time.
Every time I talk to you, I'm so sorry.
But I mean, no, it's, you know, sometimes you know, one thing that it's so funny you said that, because as soon as you said that, my sister Melina Moy just texted me, and it is difficult sometimes to be a leader, because you don't know if what you're doing is paying off. Some days I if I'm being honest, some days I just be like, I'm tired. I'm tired. It would be a lot easier if I just, you know, worked in nonprofit. You know, I'm very good at that. I've always been in nonprofit education, but then I find myself going in that direction, and then I realize, but my heart is telling me music though. My heart is telling me to just be patient, and it's hard because I be feeling like I'm on a limb by myself a lot of times. So it's hard sometimes for me to it's hard for me sometimes to receive kind words like that, because I don't know. It just is hard.
You deserve it, because I'm telling you, what you are doing, the example you're leaving for a lot of us, for of course women younger than me and little girls like your niece, it's being seen. This is your purpose. You are in your purpose. So, you know, don't feel like you are alone. And you know, it's just, and the funny thing is you're so humble, so it's almost kind of like an outer body experience talking to you, because I'm like, you're like way up here and I can talk to you.
I'm so regular, y'all.
Could you stop? You're not regular, okay? You know who's regular between the two of you? Kylo. Kylo's very regular.
Oh my God. And even regular. Him, he is so off the chart. Like, he's so weird.
Okay, so I have a little more time, so I'm gonna ask you a few more questions. But you're so welcome. And you know, like even going back to when you did Instagram Live with us for Black History Month, when you did a couple of other things, even the Guitar Girl magazine interviews, or okay, this is a little embarrassing, but when you reached out to me to do the what is it? What was the challenge?
For the Don't Rush.
Yeah, even that. Like that was the first time you and I actually got into contact with each other. And I was like, I think I saw you before on Instagram, before you actually reached out to me. And I showed my dad. I was like, Dad, look at her. Like, do you see what I think you were in your, you had your ESP and you were posing outside for a few of your pictures. And I was just kind of like, okay, I want to be like that. Can I aspire to be like that? Let me ask you some more questions before, like, this whole thing is a crying session for you.
I know, right? Let me dry my eyeball. My dog is like, bitch.
Okay, so back to the guitar, right? Do you have any dream gear? I know you own every guitar on the planet right now, but do you have any dream gear that you really want, or is on your wish list?
You know what? I used to say PRS. I used to say any PRS. Then I got a PRS. Then I got another PRS, and I got another one. And now I think where I'm at is my dream guitar would honestly be a custom built guitar. Yes. By Guitar Gabby, for Guitar Gabby. Beth, I hope you're listening, Beth. I honestly, that would mean the world to me. Even if it's not something that becomes like manufactured, which I'm believing that I'm going to have. I'm going to have a signature guitar one day. So
you are. You're manifesting that. So,
but I really want to. I want to start, like, I've always, growing up, when I was trying to figure out guitar before I even started playing, I used to take them apart and draw diagrams, like really bad diagram. I'm not an artist, but I used to draw a diagram so I can figure out what goes where, how, and why, and it helped me to understand guitar more. And so I used to draw out like little versions of what my dream guitar would look like. And I think that it's a very specific shade of green, like bright neon ass green. But I would love to have like a custom built top to bottom. Like I want the works. Like, the fretboard is finna be all type of colors. I'm talking like top notch shit. Top
Listen,
notch.
I would not be surprised within the next 2 years, within the next two
Amen.
years or so, that you're gonna have that manifested. So
Come on now. Falling on it.
that's awesome, sis.
Amen.
That's really cool. Um, do we still have a few more minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see. I think I asked you a lot of things.
I got about 10 more minutes for them to take them out.
Why did you pick the guitar? I don't think I asked you that.
You know what? Guitar picked me because through my mom. Because I remember telling my mom that I wanted to play an instrument. She took me to this old church that I think was like an old no, it wasn't a Baptist church. I think it was a Catholic church, but anywho, whatever. My mom took me to this old church when I was young and put me in guitar lessons with this old white lady. I forgot her name, but she was like she'd be playing. So I started taking lessons with her. It was cool or whatever, but like I didn't really have like the zhuzh that I was looking for, the energy, the ability to release the energy that I felt as like my young preteen angst phase or whatever. I couldn't really express that through piano. Then I started playing the clarinet and the oboe. And I had a teacher in middle school. His name was Mr. Jennings, and he was my band teacher, and still a very good mentor and friend to this day. But Mr. Jennings really helped me to understand the world of music more. Classical playing the clarinet and the oboe really helped me to understand. It opened up my mind to the limitless possibilities of what it means to be a musician. Then my mom said, well, let's try guitar. Because I'm like, I can't sing while I'm playing the clarinet. Like, it's not going to work. So my mom got me a guitar. And I remember as soon as I had it, I put it in my hands. I was like, this is it. I have no idea how to play this thing, but I like this. This is great. I can just see myself, throwing my hair around. Then I started studying classical guitar, and the world of music opened up even more. And I started learning about the foundation really of every other genre, which is why I think I appreciate a lot of different genres of music, because I studied classical guitar for quite some years. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's how guitar happened. My mom was like, okay, well, just try this. And it stuck.
No, I think that was divine timing or divine, like what you were supposed to say. So let's see. So, okay, so can you name some of the women in your life that really inspire you to stick with being a musician, especially on days when you're just like, you know what, I want to give up and do something else, because I've been there?
My mom.
Your mom?
Mm-hmm. My mom, like, I was talking to her a couple of weeks ago. I think we were just talking about life and music, and I was like, do you ever feel like you just don't feel like it sometimes? Like, you just feel like you don't feel like doing something that you really like doing? She's like, yes, girl, all the time, every single day. But it's not a bad idea to put it down for a minute. If you need to take a break, do that. I did an interview for Guitar Girl magazine with I forget her last name. I feel Paula Boggs, phenomenal Black queer woman, amazing. She's the first Black queer woman on the board at Fender. And I remember doing her interview, right? And she was an attorney. She was like top litigator, working at Starbucks, like you name it, sis has done it. And I'm quite positive she smashed it in the courtroom as well. But but I remember when I was doing her interview, I remember asking her a question along these lines, and she said, for a long time, I had put the guitar down, and the thing that made me get back to it and fall back in love with it was a life incident that I didn't even know was going to happen. She lost a friend, an unexpected tragic accident, and she said that going to the guitar reminded her of how she went back to her emotions, how she went back to figuring out where to go from here when she was younger. She remembered going through that, and the guitar really just helped to see her through. So I think, Paula Boggs is definitely an inspiration for me, especially in the season that I feel like I'm in right now, because some days I don't feel like it. Some days I just simply don't. And I think that's okay. I think it's okay to be honest about saying, I don't feel like playing guitar today. So, but my mom, whenever I have those moments, whenever I fall into those dishes of, I don't know if I can do this versus I don't know if I want to do this, there's a very big difference. But the
Right.
days that I don't want to do it, that's fine. But the days when I start questioning the ability and the skill set that God has given me, that's when my mom is like, hey, whoa, 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 whoa. First of all, we're not going to question what God has already given you. Okay. So that's number one. Second of all, we just keep talking. And she always puts things into perspective for me.
It's
Definitely
really
puts things in
awesome.
perspective for me. And she always reminds me, but by example, to be resilient and to keep going. Because my mom, I don't know how in the world she raised two kids, my dad, and he was in the academy at the time for policing. So their schedules were, and then she was also in grad school and she
Oh
was
my
working full
God.
time. And I was little. Like I wasn't old enough
Wow.
to be babysitting my little sister.
Wow.
So I don't know how she did it without wine and weed, but she did. And that right there, that says a lot to me. So it always reminds me to keep going. Like my mom did it. She's been an excellent example for me. So let me just keep going.
That's awesome. That's so great. Like in my case, the one parent, well, I have both of my parents, but my dad, because he himself is an artist, he's actually a portrait artist. Like I have a lot of his art in my room.
Yeah.
He's the one who really, really, whenever I was like, Dad, I want to get into this or into that, he was always the parent that was like, okay, let's go get it. Let's get it. Let's
Yeah.
go get it from the music shop. Let's go get you lessons. Let's go get you sheet music, whatever you need. Let's do it. My dad has always been the person who just continually inspires me, even on days when I'm so irritated with myself and where I'm at
Okay.
in my
Yeah.
career. He's always the one who's like, no, you have to do this. This is what
Right.
you wanted to do. And even sometimes he will get mad at me when I'm like, I don't want to do guitar anymore. I don't want to do guitar anymore. He's like, no, that's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
It's for you. And I
Right.
just feel so grateful having that in my life. My mom, she's very encouraging too, but she's from the Caribbean. Caribbean parents are very traditional. They're
Very
like,
different.
you gotta be in school, you gotta be doing like the straight and narrow. But
Yeah.
luckily, my dad, he was always and is always constantly motivating me, even when I
Yeah.
can't motivate myself.
Yeah.
So I totally understand where you're coming from that. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Gotta
ask you
love
one more
parents.
question. Yes, I'm just so blessed. I mean,
I
I
know.
I
Yeah,
have
me
just
too.
so much gratitude.
Me
So I'm
too.
gonna ask you one more question, ma'am, and then I'm gonna let you go because I know that booked and busy lifestyle is just.
Listen, and Kylo better not pee in my room.
I can't. I can't.
He knows better.
I can't. Okay. I feel like I asked you everything. Um. All right, let me see.
Screaming. Marie said hashtag West Indian child. So you already know.
Exactly. Oh
You
my.
already know. Listen, black parenting black parenting across the gamut is very interesting. But you know what? It keeps us together.
I have no words because that exactly is my experience. Okay, so here's the question. So I asked you what you want your legacy to be. What are your goals for your career that you really desire? Like say 5 years from now, what is it that you hope to accomplish?
Mm. One thing that I've been really working on building out is so basically the long-term plan, and I've actually never really talked about this. I've just been working towards it, but the long-term um plan for Tulipspan LLC is to become a self-management agency. And essentially what that means is becoming the toolbox, the toolkit for other focusing on women of color, but it will become the toolbox for women of color to really take control of their career in all facets. Because one thing that I've definitely learned from, reading different stories about things that have happened to some of our favorites in music, and from the legal side to the business side to people lying to you just not knowing because you've never had to do anything besides making beats or singing or whatever. Like I want to make sure that me and the skill set that the Tulips Gang brings to the table, not just on the music front, but on all other fronts, is definitely given back out as a resource to the community. And I really, because I think that's important, and no one is doing that. This industry is definitely money motivated. Like, I mean, it's the world. So, which I get, and there's nothing wrong with making money. You need money to do things that you got to do. And I get that. But I also believe that, having ownership of your things is also very important. And if you don't want ownership of your things, that's fine. But at least you willingly knew what you were signing away before you did it. And a lot of times people are just signing contracts and they don't realize
They don't read.
that they just signed over the masters to all of their music for like eternity. You're not getting it back. Well, you could, but that's like a lot of litigation. But you know,
To be honest, I don't know of any artist who has gotten their catalog back and is still living. Okay, I'm just saying.
yeah,
So it's really great that you know that there are artists like you who, you know, their one of their purpose is to help people on the business side. And I know
right.
you have to go, and so
No,
one last
my
question.
daughter's looking at something on the wall, but he also looks very high, so I don't know. Sorry, go ahead.
So one thing I was gonna ask you, how come you became a lawyer? That was something that I've always been a little curious about. Like, why? I know like the business side of music is very like necessary for, you know, us coming up and trying to figure out, you know, our way through things and just protecting yourself. But why did you go to law school?
Because I wanted to understand what the hell is going on. Like, what are y'all talking about? Like I knew a lot of things from trial and error, and plus, you know, I'm smart, so there are a lot of things that I just kind of gathered. Speaking
Mm-hmm.
of Tulips University, so the Tulips Academy actually just kicked off this summer. So the Tulips Academy is,
Nice.
yeah, so the Tulips Academy is basically focused on teaching the young kids from a very young age about this kind of stuff that I wish that I would have known a long time ago. Thankfully, I haven't had anything absolutely atrocious happen to me.
Thank
Um,
God.
but you never know. This is a crazy industry. People, you know, will be hella sneaky. So just being able to know what it is that you're reading, what you're signing, understanding the context of all of that, that was very important to me. And also, I think that I've always had an interest in law and philosophy because the two are hand in hand. But I didn't realize that I wanted to go to law school until my mom was like, "You should go to Vermont Law." And I was like, "Girl, why?" And she was like, "Just trust me." And I did.
Your mom is like,
Let me
she,
tell you something.
you
My
must
mom
have a
be putting
connection with
me
the
on
divine.
game.
No, but like it's so funny that that parents are like people who are placed in your life for your purpose. Some of the things they say, sometimes you're just looking at them like, how did you know this would
How did you
benefit me?
know
I couldn't
that?
see it
Right.
at
Yeah.
the time, so that's such a
Yeah.
blessing.
That was definitely my mom for sure. But you know, it's all about the for me outside of the being able to protect myself. I wanted to exist in the space of being a consultant in education. I never wanted to litigate in the courtroom. I don't got time for that. But what I do have time for is sharing knowledge that I've learned,
Hmm.
and that will hopefully positively impact somebody else out there. And that's more important to me than making millions of dollars in courtrooms fighting. I would rather see I'd rather see you have ownership of your music for the rest of your life if you understand what that means.
Right. That's
Yeah.
so awesome. So for Tulips University, does it matter how like old you are, or is it just for kids starting out?
So we're scaling it out to work with older people as well, because when I say older, I'm not being shady, but a lot of the workshops that we've been doing have been geared towards, they've been 8 to about 25 years old, 24, 25 years old. But I really, really want to expand that because a lot of my clients are people our age and up. A lot of my clients are people that are like in their mid 30s who are like, shit, I don't know what I just signed. Can you help me? You know, so yeah. So the Tulip unit, the Tulip Academy is for the babies. There are Tulip buds, we call them. And then
Cute.
the university, which I'm building out now, is going to be more accessible to people that are 25 and up. Well, I'll
That's
say 21 and up because, you know, at 21, you still need to know what's going on.
absolutely. But you know, thank you so much, sis, for your time. This was so awesome to talk with you and chat with you and just get to know you a lot better and have an insight on just, you know, how you've gotten to where you are. And I
Yeah,
really, really appreciate you for taking the time to talk to me.
of course. Thanks for having me. I always love talking to you. And however I can support, you know, I'm there.
Thank you, sis. I know. Please tell Mr. Kylo I said thank you as well for being
Let's go see what he
a
doing.
willing participant.
Oh, he done clocked out. Kai Kai,
Oh,
you clock.
he's done. Okay.
Hi.
Oh, look at the
You
eyes.
see a little,
He's
yeah,
so cute.
he's a bloodhound. He has bloodhound in him. So his droopiness is from that. And he be high. So
Do I need to ask why he's high?
we'll talk about that offline.
Okay. Thank you, sis. Thank you, sis. Thank you so much. Please enjoy the rest of your day, and you know, please include me on whatever it is that you have going on. I would love to share it on my page. But I can't
Absolutely.
get over this. This feels like a dream. I actually talked to Guitar Gabby for like a whole hour. Oh my god. All right,
Girl,
I'm
we
gonna
can talk any day. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I'm gonna go somewhere now because I need to calm down a little bit.
And I'm about to go to the bathroom.
Okay, I'm gone. Bye.
Bye.